Hello, faithful watchers, reviewers, fans, otherwise of Doctor Who Target Files podcast. Yes, a bit of a long time since the last video, not been reviewing series... what are we now? 12, yeah, series 12 lately because I've been to LA. I went to Gallifrey 1, the world's largest Doctor Who convention, and what a blast it was. Wonderful. Just going to give you my thoughts on that great weekend. Ended up spending a week in LA due to an anxiety disorder and periods in and out of work down the years. This was my first trip abroad since 2003, but loved it. Thankfully, my anxiety stayed in check. Beautiful hospitality over there, beautiful weather, everything you'd expect of LA really. And then towards the end of the week, of course, I headed for the Marriott, LAX, and went to the convention. And wow, just blown away. Such a highlight there to see Chris Eccleston speak. Went to his panel on the Sunday morning. The Saturday one was pretty much sold out pretty quickly, but Chris was on top form. You've possibly seen a video or some of the stills online of the crowd singing happy birthday to him, and he was absolutely so chuffed, you know. He was obviously disappointed to be away from his family for his birthday, but he definitely feels the love, guys, and I think he definitely gets it now. You know, we worried for so many years whether he would embrace fandom, but thankfully I got to see him the summer before last and have my picture taken at his very first London Film and Comic Con, and now he's embraced the US side of things as well. So one bit of a disappointment is in the panel before me. Apparently he said he wouldn't ever do Big Finish, which is a bit of a disappointment because we'd all like to see him come back to the role, but he has his reasons, and we can always keep knocking on the door, guys. Like, you know, Tom Baker, I don't think didn't do a Big Finish play until he was in his 70s, did he? So yeah, just wonderful to hear Chris's thoughts on how much he respected working, you know, with Billy Piper at the time, with Russell. You know, there's been issues since then, but he didn't sort of dwell on those in any way. And interesting to hear about the rest of his career and how he feels about the genuine feeling of respect on a set, you know, and that's something that sort of got to him within the stresses as well of his dad having dementia and being diagnosed with that terrible illness whilst he was filming his season as the Doctor. But there's certainly an overall impression that he's so grateful he had the role just for the 1 year. You know, we would have liked more, but now we're starting to see him express fandom and feel a love back, you know, from many people who were in their childhood. And he will be their first Doctor. Many guys and girls who are now in their 20s, and they're getting to show him a lot of the appreciation, as us older fans are as well. But otherwise, on the weekend, looking away from the Eccleston experience, we had some great panels with my TARDIS team as a child, which was Peter Davison, Sarah Sutton, Janet Fielding, and Mark Strickson. Turlough, of course. Mark Strickson was the one I hadn't seen at a convention in the UK before, so that was a highlight for me. You know, there's great banter on stage between a lot of them. They're obviously well versed in these conventions now, having done them more or less since they were in the role back in the 1980s. So it's a very sort of refined experience to see them up on stage together, all bantering off each other, and just the fact that they're all very dyed-in-the-wool performers now comes across really well. Another highlight for me, the only other panel I went to was the hugely successful now Seth MacFarlane show, The Orville. We had three of the producers from that give a talk in one of the side rooms, and that was fascinating to hear about the process which goes into a show which I think is severely underrated, but really does, as the producers mentioned in their panel, take you back to those next generation times. With Star Trek, you know, that's an era the producers pointed out that Seth MacFarlane loves, and he wanted to have that in the ethos of the show, and it was fascinating to hear someone like Brannon Braga speak, who we know has been involved with Star Trek and was involved partway through the Next Generation run in the 90s. So fascinating to hear their insight into how US TV worked. Got a little look around the stalls. Possibly was a bit traitorous and bought this Star Trek red shirt. That was my only sort of purchase I made over there from the convention itself, but managed to get one ribbon on the galley thing. There's my little galley there with the galley ribbon that was donated to me very kindly by another attendee, with the curator's speech, or part of his speech in his monologue from Day of the Doctor, wasn't it, on it. So what I would say, Gallifrey 1, if I'm going to score it, yeah, 10 out of 10, pretty much a perfect convention. It does cost you a fair amount of money to go over there if you're overseas or if you're in the UK, but get around to planning it. I took on more or less a year to plan it. From, I think the tickets for the next one are going on sale at the end of this month, February, and this is the period I bought them in last year. But get your planning in order. I managed to stay in an apartment in LA for 3 days, relatively cheaply, with a nice heated pool in the middle of Burbank, near to all the studios, so I got to see the sights pretty much easily enough, but stayed within a budget. And I'd say just plan it as best you can, guys. It's certainly doable. It is expensive, but definitely one of the best experiences I've had in Doctor Who fandom. Thanks, guys, and we'll be having reviews of the episodes I did get to see, one in Bristol Airport on the way out, and one at the convention last weekend with about 1,500 people, episodes 7 and 8. I'll be bringing you my thoughts on those in the next few days. So like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and speak to you again soon. Bye.